A woman called in and said her whole dynamic in the Sunday school class changed. Everything was going fine, but now it's not. What do I do? We're going to take a look at that today. Welcome to Truth Transforms. My name's Adam Markley, and we're going to get right to the questions here. If you'd like to ask a question, you can do so. You can just call this number right here, 1-800-251-4919. That's 1-800-251-4919. Call, leave a voicemail 24/7. You can call at 9 p.m., you can call at 6 a.m., you can call at 2 a.m., you can call whenever you want, any time zone. It goes straight to voicemail, won't bother me, and I will get to it when I can. So give a call for an opportunity to have that interacted with in a future episode. Christian living questions, questions about a podcast, just reference the podcast you're calling about. Christian, theology questions, pastoral questions, etc. And Christians in AI, definitely looking for questions regarding Christians in AI, working on teaching on the ethical considerations. All right, so let's get to this question here, and that is that button there. This is coming from V. She has a question about her Sunday school class and things that are going on in the church that she's going to right now.
Good evening. My name is V, and I am calling because I have been attending a Baptist church, and so far, so everything was good until most recently. I was attending Sunday school, and there's a woman, a sister who is leading it, but at the time that I was attending, so far there had only been women in the class. Now, most recently, a couple attended, and of course, the husband is in there also. But the sister is still teaching it, and I brought this up to her, and I even give her scripture in Corinthians where Paul says a woman should not teach or have authority over men. And, so she went to the pastor and she told him everything that I had said or sent, the text and everything. And so she said that the pastor said for her to continue doing or to stay where he put her at, so that she was going to continue having that class regardless if there's men there or not. And then the pastor at the service, he also said something about that people need to be humble and that pride comes before a fall. And I was thinking, well, I guess she's, said that because of me, because what I brought up to her, and that we shouldn't be jealous over others because they're teaching a class or, So I that's my question. My question is, should I continue to go to that church? Is that a doctrinal matter, or what should I do? Thank you.
Well, thank you, V, for the question. I appreciate you calling in with that. It's really disappointing because, as you said, everything was going fine up until that point. And it's really something that's should have been very easily resolved, really. This is a women's class, and this woman teacher, when this couple came in, uh, I would think, she taught through the whole time when the couple was there, the husband was there with the wife. But honestly, this in most situations, I would see this being resolved by, let's say it's Susie, by coming up to Susie afterward at the couple together and being like, we really appreciated having you guys here today. It was so great to have you. Oh, by the way, there's a men's class in that room. There's a men's class, and this is a women's class. We're so looking forward to having you again next week, Susie, with us. We enjoyed having you in the class, we know that Bob will enjoy that class. There's a couple of different ones he can choose from. That's how most people would deal with the situation. And that probably would resolve it in most circumstances without even dealing with it directly. So it's disappointing that this woman was okay to continue teaching with this man in the class that now has changed the whole dynamic, because this is a woman's class, and now she's teaching a man that's in the class. And so I appreciate that you talked to her, and I appreciate that you brought up scripture and that you went directly to it's at First Timothy 2:12, and then there's also in First Corinthians about headship as well. But First Timothy 2:12, I do not permit a woman to teach or exercise authority over a man, for she's to remain quiet. And then Paul roots it in creation. That's rooted in creation and grounded in creation. So it's not a cultural issue. It's a creational issue, and so that's the biblical argument, and you're aware of that. So I actually wrote some things down here, but I appreciate how you dealt with it. We're gonna talk about some things to consider, options, and steps to take. So I do appreciate how you handled that. I'm concerned with what she did when she went to the pastor, and well, I'm concerned with how the pastor dealt with it, because the fact that he told her to keep doing what she's doing and not deal with it, it's kind of like it could just be a situation where if she didn't want to confront this couple, uh, and she had a conviction about what the Bible teaches here, she could go to the pastor, or after talking to you, could go to the pastor, and he could go talk to the couple. And again, it doesn't have to be done it can be done in a very easy way. Like, hey, we appreciate you guys. We're so glad that you're coming now. Hey, by the way, this is a woman's only class. So we've got a class there for men, and that's just it should be able to be handled. But they don't want to handle it. And so it's actually probably a good time to find out where the church is doctrinally. I think always an aspect regarding things in the church and your investment in the church is going to be proportional with your commitment to the church. Are you brand new to the church? It sounded like it from what you said. I started going to this church. Are you a member of the church? If you've been at the church a long time, those are things that are gonna that's gonna determine just kind of how long you go about figuring this out. Of course, some things to consider. I want these are some things to consider. I wrote down it. We really don't know how the woman approached the pastor. All right, so we don't know how things were framed. It could have been framed in a very different manner than how the discussion was, how you talked to her. And if you approached her and you spoke to her just in a gentle manner, but made it clear like this isn't biblical. We don't know how she took that to the pastor, and so he could have a very different story in his mind. Something imagined a very differently, sadly. So he may have a very different picture of the situation. Two, just another thing to keep in mind. She may be an important person in the church, or connected to an important family, or any one of those things. Those are all possibilities, just possibilities to consider. It doesn't change the situation. Those are just things to consider, and sometimes it can make you wonder, why is the pastor like this? Maybe they're not clear on their doctrine, or maybe he's doesn't want to offend her or that family. There's just possibilities. Three, things to consider. This is the perfect time to clarify what the church believes. Yeah, it really is. This is the perfect time, both on paper and in person. So let's go into the options. Of course, I want to talk about what I think you should do, the steps to take, but there is always the option of to well, it is an option, because you're not in sin. It is an option to attend this class if it doesn't make you uncomfortable, but I don't see that as being. You need to talk to the pastor, and I'm going to get to that here in a moment. But that is an option, just to state an option, and you could pray and hope while attending it that this couple is not going to continue going for a long time because it's one husband that's in there, and so yeah, it's so sad that it's just one couple that's messed this whole thing up. Another option, of course, you could attend a different class. Maybe there is another class that could work out better. Certainly, the relational dynamics here are already challenging, but you could attend a different class. That is a possibility. And I mean, if it came down to it and you can't get this resolved, not attending Sunday school, but just going to the worship service, that is also a possibility as well. I mean, if the pastor is fine with a woman teaching men, that's concerning. But I think we need to get down to that. I think we need to find out what he really believes and what the church really believes. So steps to take. I think you need to talk to the pastor, approach the pastor. Now, hopefully in person. If you're married, you could bring your husband along. That's something you could do. You could also, if you're not comfortable going and talking to him in person, or if he's not available, you might do this in writing. That's something that's possible as well. But I think talking to him is going to be important. And basically, I would, oddly enough, you would think that you would just go straight to scripture with a pastor. And unfortunately, with a lot of pastors these days, I don't want to speak poorly of pastors, but I mean, the sad reality is so many pastors are more focused about not offending people. They're more concerned about keeping usually the women in the church happy. They're more concerned about that than anything else. And so honestly, I would start not with scripture. I would start with pastor. I'm wondering, this couple came in and there's this man in the church that makes me feel very uncomfortable. It makes me feel very uncomfortable that this man in the church, Pastor, this is supposed to be a woman's class. What should I do? That's where you should start. Because just because the way these pastors are. And then if he doesn't care about that, then and of course you've got to go to scripture, but then you go to scripture and you say, this is a perfect time to find out what they believe. And you say, well, what about the scripture? And you go to the scripture that you cited. And uh, I'd say ask some questions to find out really what he believes and what the church believes, not in an interrogative way, but just in a kind of like a curious way. Watch how you're asking it and just say, well, so can you help me understand, what does the church believe about, women teaching Sunday morning? Is it okay for women to teach men? Or is it okay for a woman to preach? Can you explain what the church believes about this and what you believe about that? And just kind of go from there and see what his reaction is. See if his reaction is he's just going to explain the position, see if his reaction is defensive, see if his reaction is, because that's going to be pretty telling. Um, that's going to be very, very telling. And so, I just have some things here I already talked about. The level of investment into the church should be proportional with your commitment to the church. So, if you're a member in the church, if you've been in the church a long time, there's going to be more investment to put into this. If you've been attending the church for just a short period of time, which it kind of sounds like is the case, then you should be prayerful about how much to pursue this, because there's already, I do think you should talk to the pastor. Absolutely need to talk to the pastor, because he has a particular story in mind, and that story is coming straight from this woman who's teaching the class. And if you're gonna um, make this your home church, I want you to be able to have a good relationship with her and a good relationship with the pastor. And so this is going to need worked out, because you can't have, uh, um, it just can't, you need to be able to have, good relationships. And it's their fault that you're in the position that you're in, but it's just, it's very sad. It's very sad, and it's so often the case that the faithful are put in this kind of position, and it's just, know that that is absolutely the case again and again and again and again. It is the faithful Bible believing Christians that are ostracized in churches, and it's so very sad. So pray about it big time. See about approaching the pastor. If you're married, bring your husband. Go along together with the pastor. Try and follow those guidelines that I gave. Uh, uh, Consider some other things, of course. I hope that that's a helpful start, and I'll be praying as well. I hope that that is helpful to you. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today. That's the question of the day. If you'd like to ask your question, it's on the screen there. You can call in 1-800-251-4919. That's 1-800-251-4919. That goes straight to voicemail, 24/7 voicemail box, and you can leave that question. Maybe something today maybe made you think of something of a similar situation. Question about women in ministry. That's appropriate. You can call and you can ask that question. If you'd like to support this ministry, you can do so here. You can provide a one-time donation by going to preachingforgodsglory.org/donate. You can also become a true supporter if you'd like by going to preachingforgodsglory.org/true supporter. Theology Thursdays, exclusive content, priority call-in options, and more. There's a video on the website there for you to watch. Also got a free resource here if you are new, and that is Lessons in Philippians. It's an overview in Philippians. It is something I hope is a comfort during the chaotic time that we're living in. God bless you. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.